Just really quickly, I'm going to give an epilepsy warning for this episode. During the title sequence, for some reason the production team thought it would be best to put a really fast flashing light over the title. I don't know whether this will actually trigger epilepsy in anyone, but I thought I'd put the warning anyway. Just thought I'd say. Actually, also, this video is going to be a heavily summarised version of the War Games, as the story is 10 parts long, being about 4 hours. I watched this whole thing over like 2 days, it is really long. So I won't be covering everything as it's just too long. But without further ado, let's dive into the War Games. Finally a switch up, a brand new title sequence, followed by the most confusing sequence of events I think I've ever seen. Right, so the TARDIS team land, I'll go into more detail about them later, and are shot by shells. Since they're seemingly inside of the Great War, World War I, they find a woman named Lady Jennifer with an ambulance, who comes out of nowhere. Then they're taken hostage by German soldiers, who also come out of nowhere. Then, not even 10 seconds later, they've overpowered the Germans and are now driving back to British lines. What? Talk about being thrust into the action, and now they can't even leave, since there's a wall of machine gun fire stopping them.
Yeah, things have calmed down a bit. Let's try and get away.
While it seems initially that this story is just thrown together, it's actually quite masterful. We keep getting comments from the soldiers that they don't quite remember where they are or how long they've been there, and there's this mysterious General Smythe in charge of the British forces, who has some future technology hidden in his office. Turns out it's because he's not actually a native of 1917, and not even human either. The TARDIS team are tried as spies and a deserter without a chance to defend themselves, and the Doctor is sentenced to death by firing squad. In the night, Zoe discovers Smythe's hidden secret in his bedroom, and also his keys, freeing the Doctor. But apparently time moves faster here, and it's already the morning of the Doctor's execution. Great.
Aim!
A sniper saves the Doctor. Very convenient. At the same time, Jamie is locked up in a cell and meets a redcoat from 1745. This is where the pieces begin to fall into place, especially when Smythe leaves for a meeting in a TARDIS-like device. Jamie escapes, just as the Doctor and Zoe try to save him, doing exactly what the second Doctor does best, deceiving people.
Stop! And about time, too! Where have you been? You were sent to meet us! Me too! Now, don't argue! Take us to the prison! In you get, Miss Elliot. But drive on!
Unfortunately, the redcoat has been shot, and Jamie is taken to the Commandant, the Doctor and Zoe. He starts to get suspicious, so Zoe hits him over the head with a vase.
I'm sorry, Doctor, but it seemed the only way.
Oh, well done, Zoe.
Well, finally they can escape, and nope, it's Captain Ransom. Well, I didn't expect the Spanish Inquisition to show up. Hold on, wait, no, I actually meant...
Inquisition.
They're taken back to the British chateau. Well, it's French, but it's inhabited by British people. And they show Lady Jennifer and Lieutenant Carstairs Smythe's screen. At first, they can't see it, but focus really, really hard, and then they can. Unlucky for them, though, someone is watching on the other side. They escape and head through a mist in the ambulance, managing to evade artillery fire. Except there's one slight problem. A much bigger problem, actually. The greatest military machine in the history of the universe. The Romans. Honestly, this story is just so insane. Returning to the chateau, they blow up Smythe's safe.
Cheerio!
Discovering a map of different zones. 1917, Roman, Greek, the 30 Years' War, and a blank space in the middle. Within a few minutes, they're now captured by Germans. Despite being 10 episodes long, they move so incredibly quickly. Here we get one of the first appearances of the sonic screwdriver, using it to convince one of the soldiers that they are time travellers.
Ah, that revolver will do. It's all right. There we are. And back it goes. Fantastic!
Unfortunately, the German leader, von Weich, is also an alien. This is where they are fully revealed to be aliens, known as the Warlords, a race with the objective of finding the most powerful human military. Why humans? Well, they look like the Warlords, and are said to be the most ruthless killing machines, slaughtering each other for millennia. In many ways, this story makes a mockery out of war, and how fruitless it is, bringing together the most terrible conflicts in our history, except the Second World War, as it was a bit too soon, and fought on all fronts. The Warlords are able to maintain power by using hypnotizing spectacles. Smythe has his reading glasses, and von Weich has his rather on-the-nose monocle. Both characters are so incredibly evil, but also so incredibly real, comparable to actual officers. Here they are, playing war like it's a game, even talking about cheating, just like how in real life officers sit back and draw up battle plans from cushy officers completely out of danger. Jamie gets separated from Zoe and the Doctor when a TARDIS-like device appears again, discovering its true nature as a bigger-on-the-inside vessel with weird glasses. How did the Warlords obtain such a technology? From the War Chief, of course, who isn't actually one of their species. He's a renegade Time Lord, just like the Doctor. Even though the monk appeared first, the War Chief is the first named as a Time Lord, other than the Doctor, of course. Back in the Civil War zone, Jamie and Lady Jennifer are captured by Union soldiers, then released by Confederates, who are then hypnotized and recapture them. But then a Union soldier appears and saves them. Von Weich, posing as a Confederate general, tries to hypnotize him, but it doesn't work. Apparently, some people have woken up from multiple time periods and banded together to fight against the Warlords. Across the time periods, this story feels massive. Even though the main cast, and therefore us, the audience, don't actually enter most of them, we still see them through the rebellion, all sorts of soldiers from different eras. The Doctor and Zoe run into a little bit of trouble at the Warlord's base, ending in the brainwashing of Lieutenant Carstairs and the capture of Zoe. She's interrogated by the security chief, who speaks so incredibly slowly.
What is your name? My name is... When did you join the Resistance? To the war, Lord.
For some reason, he's at odds with the War Chief. I have a feeling it's because he's an alien, but it's never outright stated. It's so pantomime. The Doctor, on the other hand, is able to roam free, easily tricking the scientist into deprocessing Carstairs and then going on to save Zoe. They move on to the Sidrat room, waiting for an opportunity. The opportunity seems to appear when a Sidrat arrives, but so do a group of soldiers, waiting to ambush whatever comes out of it, which just so happens to be Jamie and the rebels. Luckily, they're all just knocked out, and are taken to be interrogated, a confrontation that reveals to the War Chief how untrusted he really is.
Why was I not informed?
This is a matter of security. Security is my responsibility, as you often remind me.
Your first responsibility is to me.
No. My first responsibility is to the War Lord and to my people.
Jamie gets rescued again, and they all make their great escape, ending in a fight scene that is just hilarious. They're so very obviously not hitting each other. At this point, we finally get to meet the Warlord, the primary villain of the story. The thing is, he doesn't really do it for me. He's hyped up as an all-powerful god, but is really just some smoothly spoken man who smiles a lot, and really reminds me of... The TARDIS team and the rebels get surrounded in the 1917 zone, killing General Smythe in the process. The Doctor manages to jury-rig the Chateau's controls, creating a time buffer around them. Somehow, the security chief and 2 guards are able to kidnap the Doctor with a Sidrat, since for some reason none of the rebels manage to actually hit any of the guards, and the Doctor just falls in front of them. What? Starting to see a pattern here? My main gripe with this story is that it's just massively drawn out, solely due to the amount of times the TARDIS team is captured, then recaptured. While it's mostly by different groups, it's still ridiculous. The Resistance is forced to go on, and we finally meet my favourite character, Arturo Villar, who is just absolutely hilarious.
Well, where is this rascal?
He's not here.
Well, then I go.
Wait!
When he says his guns never miss, he really means it, because most of the time he's not even pointing them in the right direction. Being the master manipulator that he is, the Doctor convinces the warlords and the war chief that he's on their side, also convincing them that he can upgrade their hypnosis machine, which allows him to feign turning the resistance leaders over to the warlords. The war chief is revealed to be a traitor, just as the security chief said he was, so reluctantly joins the rebels, killing the security chief in the process. He reveals that the Sidrats only have a limited lifespan, meaning not everyone can get home, so the Doctor does the only thing he possibly can. He assembles a hypercube and summons the Time Lords.
What's he doing? Don't do it, Doctor, you can't! You know what will happen! Look at that! That is magic.
The main storyline ends with episode 9. Honestly, it could have been 6, but it is what we got. Episode 10, on the other hand, is more like an extra, a final goodbye. The Doctor's meddling is now finally caught up with him, and unfortunately he has to say goodbye to his TARDIS team, but not without making one last attempt to get away. Going through a sauna? Why does Gallifrey even have this room? Jamie and Zoe are by far my favourite TARDIS team. The dynamic between the Doctor and Jamie is already the best Doctor-companion relationship, being more like brothers than friends. Zoe just makes it even better. Jamie McCrimmon, played by Fraser Hines, acts as the curious and foolhardy strongman. Being from the 18th century, he's not very aware of anything futuristic, even things that are present day for us, so acts as the way exposition is delivered. Zoe Harriet, on the other hand, played by Wendy Padbury, is a native of the 21st century, but from our far future. She's also a living computer, a complete genius, sometimes even outmatching the Doctor in certain areas. This departure is actually quite sad, especially considering how long Jamie travelled with the Doctor, with Fraser Hines holding the record for most episodes as a companion.
They'll forget me, won't they?
Not entirely. They'll be returned to a moment in time just before they went away with you. They will remember their first adventure with you, but nothing more. But come along. Your fate has been decided.
We end with the Doctor being forced to regenerate, slowly moving into the abyss. Or did he? Well, yes and no. In expanded media, the Doctor was intercepted by the Celestial Intervention Agency, essentially Gallifrey's MI6, and forced to work under them as an agent, explaining his appearances in The Two Doctors and The Three Doctors. Patrick Troughton's run was one of the most important in Doctor Who's history. Every single Doctor after has been inspired by his performance in some way, leaving a lasting legacy that doesn't just encompass one era, but 90% of the show. This story in many ways is the biggest last hurrah a Doctor has ever had. Discounting Trial of a Time Lord, this story is the longest finale, being over 4 hours in length. It also has probably the biggest cast of characters, all of which leave an impression, and all of which are used to their full potential. Is it because of the total screen time they can get away with? Maybe, but the absolute scale of it is what sells the story as one of the greats. But anyway, that was the War Games. In tomorrow's episode, we'll be looking at the beginning of a new era, Doctor Who's break into colour, with Spearhead from space. I'll see you then.
You may have changed your appearance, but I know who you are. Oh, do you? Your machine is a TARDIS. You're too familiar with its controls to be a stranger.
I had every right to leave.
Stealing a TARDIS. Oh, I'm not criticizing you. We are two of a kind.
We most certainly are not.
We were both Time Lords. We both decided to leave our race.
I had reasons of my own.
Just as I had.
Your reasons are only too obvious. Power.